Hey everybody, it's Ben and Tiffany. We're here giving you a video on our garden plans for 2020. We've got a bit of a sketch of our plans as well as existing kind of garden area. So current garden area is 18 feet by 14 feet, a little odd, but that's what it is right now. I've been gardening in this spot for about 2 years now. The soil is really good, been doing no-till, and yeah, it's a great growing area, but we're looking to expand. So we're actually going to be going to 33 feet by 26 feet, so quite a larger area. We've got a lot of seeds here to plant, so yeah.
We're kind of gonna just go through at this point. You can see the sketch, and we're gonna go through every single. I have them sorted, kind of, sorta, like melons, flowers, herbs, whatever else I have in here. We'll go through each category, kind of figure out if it can go in the current space that we have. It's kind of ready to go. If it's gonna go in the bigger space we want to add. So that's what kind of today's video is going to be. We're just gonna be throwing ideas around and figuring it out. So here we go.
So this is a little sketch of our gardening area. So this smaller box here is the existing garden where we have pretty good soil and mulch and quite a few plants still living there. And then this area surrounding it is where we're expanding. We currently have some hay, some spent hay, and basically that's it. I'm trying to prep the ground, so it's not going to be great for planting in this year, but we should be able to like plant cover crops and stuff like that by the time spring and summer come around. So that's the sketch here.
So now we got to figure out what goes where.
Yep.
And we have everything kind of sorted a little bit. So what do we have? We have our peppers. We have root
crops, yeah.
Squash, melons, cucumbers, beans. Yeah, they're
beans and peas.
Okay.
Yep.
And then tomatoes. And then like
grains.
Yes, I think that's
just sorghum, really, right?
I think so. And then we have herbs and flowers as well. And then of course Ben's big giant collection of greens.
My greens. Yes.
I think that's it. I mean, we have, I don't even remember. Oh, this is the mix anyway.
Tomatoes are going to need pretty good soil, but we can also transplant into, compost into soil where we add extra good soil. So theoretically, these could go in both. Tomatillos are pretty resilient, so they would be good. But maybe some of the larger ones that are going to need.
This is the only big one, I guess.
Yeah, so that one's probably going to be something we want to focus, on in the existing good soil.
Okay.
Whereas these could be a little bit of both. These bitter melons did really well for me late last year in my existing garden. Obviously that was pretty good soil. I think especially with your larger melons, you're gonna want good soil.
Right.
So we're gonna need a dedicated area, and this will be, pretty large area they need. Whereas these will be purely trellised or something like that.
And then we have a lot of envelope ones, right? These are all.
Yeah, these are seed saved.
From last year.
Correct.
So, first with these.
So most of your peppers are going to be something you want, good soil with to get, good crops, and a lot of them. Some of our smaller peppers, would be easier to transplant and do like we mentioned with the tomatoes, and add some compost in with the really heavy clay soil, and they'd be fine. These do pretty well in not amazing soil. Let's see, which ones of these do we have? So we got poblanos, banana peppers, a yellow bell pepper, a small pepper, a long hot pepper. I don't have the exact names on some of these. Small purple bell pepper, and another different purple bell pepper, and a small purple hot pepper that I grew last year. So this small purple hot would do really well. So these could be like work in progress, transplanted out, potentially even these cayennes, but I mean typically you want a lot of cayennes, so probably want good soil with those. Poblanos will need good soil, banana peppers, I mean most of your peppers. Some of the small peppers, you know, that they could be all right with the supplemental in work in progress area. So I would say something like that as far as, you know, what goes where. Larger peppers in good soil, smaller peppers that will be helped along through, you know, compost tea and extra compost in work in progress area.
So cucumbers, I know I've grown cucumbers in bad conditions before. So.
Yeah, for sure. So I grew these last year. They did pretty well in fairly poor soil, but also did really well, you know, obviously in the existing garden with good soil. I mean, with your larger ones, you probably want to focus on the better soil. And maybe these smaller ones could do the work in progress soil. But you're right, I think cucumbers could just about be planted anywhere along our fence line.
I almost want to do something just like a couple, I don't know how many, like few of each in the good soil and then a good few outside as
do
well.
some experiments.
Yeah.
I got a lot of squash. I've not been extremely successful with a lot of the squash. Only a few of these varieties did well for me last year. I've definitely had a lot of issues with, you know, squash beetles and some insects because I don't really use insecticide, which I probably should of some sort. Might have to grow at least some of these. Yeah, lots of squash. Some of these might be the same.
Trying to see, there's probably.
Yeah, like these patty pans are pretty similar. I think there's a bunch of crookneck. These are early prolific.
We have some pumpkins, small pumpkins, big pumpkins.
Seed saved.
Butternut squash.
Butternut squashes. Winter. So, I mean, most of your squash, you know, you're gonna want. They need a lot of nutrients. So, most of these are probably gonna need to be in pretty good soil. There's a few that might do okay. Like I don't have much experience growing pumpkins well, so I would think a smaller pumpkin would be somewhat okay in the work in progress area.
For sure. I think last year, 2 years ago, just in the front yard, I ran out of space in the garden and I just dug a hole and just threw something in there. And I know that soil is not the best, and I got some pumpkins, so we can always throw a bunch in there for sure.
Yeah, I think some of these too, like, I mean, I had, let's see, which was the one that I had do so well for me this past year? It was one of these. I don't remember which one. Is that one we were still sitting over there?
Oh, then it's probably this.
Yeah, I think it was this winter squash.
Yeah.
So this butternut did really well for me. It was more of a running vine, so it was able to like spread throughout the garden a bit better and handle some of the insects a bit better, and also trellis up, like, you know, up a trellis. So that seemed to do really well for me, but that was in the, you know, good soil. So I think we should kind of experiment with a lot of these since we have so many.
We have a lot of them.
We'll probably try some in both. And see what happens. All right, so I've got a lot of beans and peas, really more peas, I think. So we'll start, let's show the beans and peas separate. So here's our beans. These are all peas, a bunch of peas.
So these are the only beans.
Yep, so we've got 2 varieties of beans. Blue Lake, I've been growing these Blue Lake variety of bush beans literally since I was a small kid with my family. So they've always done really well in very poor soil and in great soil. So these are definitely something we can plant just about everywhere. My guess is that's going to be the same. I mean, you know, peas take get their nitrogen through their leaves. So you really don't need at least nitrogen in the soil for the most part. So most of these should do pretty well in, you know, just about anywhere in our garden. But these are really cool. We're excited about these. This is the first time I've grown this variety, Royal Burgundy. I have grown a lot of these peas in the last 2 years. These did really well, the black-eyed peas here. And a few of these peas did well, but also not, some of them didn't do amazing. So yeah, I think we'll probably try a bunch of different ones of these, you know, scattered throughout the garden. So these are all the root vegetables. We've got a few different varieties of carrots. I've also seed saved a lot of my rainbow carrots. So we've got a lot of those that are, you know, should be good to go. Got kohlrabi, some celery, rhubarb, some turnips, or radish, excuse me. I think we've got more radish somewhere. Yeah, there we are. Yeah. Lots of radish. That's a variety pack. There's another. Red onions, beets, leeks, and Tokyo long onions. So let's see. I mean, turnips, they're not going to do amazing in poor soil. I've actually even struggled to, you know, get good crops in my main garden with these, with some of these. So we might not want to put those in the work in progress. Although, you know, you could still use them for their greens. They just wouldn't have as big of bulbs. So that would be an option. Carrots, kind of same deal. They're not gonna get great roots, you know, that you're looking for in poor soil, especially in our clay. They're just not very tolerant with that. So they'll probably want to be in some pretty good soil. Same with beets. Again, they're like the radish. You could harvest the leaves in poor soil, but you're not going to get bulbs in just clay like we have. Again, similar. It's pretty much goes for all the root crops.
Because they're all.
I mean, celery is a little bit different, I guess, and that's, I don't know, that's kind of one of those ones on the fence. Like, it's not really a root crop, but it's a stalk crop, I guess. But anyway, that'll probably do a bit better in the poor soil because they don't need very much nutrients. They just need, you know, water, essentially. Rhubarb, I mean, kind of the same deal as the kohlrabi and the rest of the root crops. You want, although it's a stalk too, you know, you're kind of focused on the stalk. So we can experiment with these. But most of your root crops are going to be, you know, best grown in good soil. All right, so I guess we'll start with, let's start with those.
Okay.
So here's, I guess these aren't really necessarily greens, but kind of just our general vegetables. We've got some corn, a lot of purple stuff, some eggplants, cauliflower, broccoli, artichoke, Brussels sprouts, some more corn. This is some broccoli, some more broccoli, and cauliflower. So pretty much all of these are gonna want good soil, corn being a bit of an exception, but it will want fertilizer. So we'll probably plan on growing some, quite a bit of corn actually in our work in progress area, and just supplement with fertilizer. Eggplants, so that's kind of in the middle, like the tomatoes. You know, you could grow them. We could, you know, supplement the soil in the work in progress area, but they're definitely going to do better in really good soil. Cauliflower and broccoli, these brassicas are the same. You know, you can harvest the greens off of them in poor soil, but you're not really going to get that main crop of the actual flower in poor soil. Same here with the Brussels sprouts and artichoke. I've actually never grown artichoke, so this is the first. So we're gonna do some experiments with that. That's kind of the general vegetables we have. So we got some cabbage here. We've actually got a few different cabbages. I don't think we have them all here actually. But so in order to really get a head of cabbage, you definitely want good soil. So we probably won't be growing any cabbage in our work in progress area. That'll be, you know, in the existing garden. All right, some of our lettuce. We've got quite a few varieties of lettuce here, some new stuff from my gardener. Pretty much all of these are good in either, especially if we supplement and keep watered well. Swiss chard might want a little bit of extra amendments, and in order to get really big leaves and stalks, you'll probably want better soil. So Swiss chard might be one we plant primarily in the existing garden, just to get a better crop. But same with these. I mean, we'll definitely plant some lettuce, I think, in the main garden, as well as probably in the new spot, but just supplement. So cool, that's the lettuces. A bunch more greens here.
A lot.
Quite a few. So actually, let's start next with some of the Asian greens. We have tatsoi. I guess this isn't really an Asian green, but that's upland cress. It's very spicy. I like it. I guess a lot of people don't. Purslane. There's some of our other cabbage.
Oh, found it.
There's another cabbage. I believe this is a Chinese cabbage. I got completely water damaged on the package. This is a very cool variety of spinach called Egyptian spinach. It does really well in the hot weather, so we probably won't be planting that until closer to the summer. I forget how to say this. I think it's mach. Forget. Arugula, spinach. We've got amaranth, which is the vegetable version. So for leaves, got some salad mixes from In My Gardener, some other spinach. So most of these are gonna do pretty well anywhere. Literally every single one of these. Tatsoi, you might get, you know, a lot better production, especially if you're harvesting the whole kind of head. You'd probably want better soil. This larger spinach maybe might want better soil, but for the most part, most of these are going to be good to go in just about any soil. So that's that group of greens. Next we've got some kales. So I've seed saved quite a bit of kale. I kind of went crazy my first year growing kale, as far as just growing a lot of it. So I've seed saved. We've got quite a few different varieties here. Let's see, what is this one? Red Russian, some more Red Russian kale, and scarlet kale. So most of your kale is probably going to do better in good soil, but also it's pretty hardy. I mean, it can be grown in some clay, but we'll probably focus most of our kale in the good soil in the existing garden. Alright, another group of random greens here. We've got a stir fry mix, which is like some mustards and tatsoi and some kale. So that's a cool little mix. I believe this is actually tatsoi greens mix ovation. So this is like mustard, mizuna, tatsoi, kale, and arugula. Some more purslane, sorrel, red veined, French sorrel, common plantain. This is actually a weed from my yard, but I like plantain, and it's a very cool herb, and it's actually good in salads and stuff. So I've seed saved that. Some mizuna and some really cool Osaka purple kale, mustard. Excuse me, Osaka purple mustard. So most of these, again, this is going to be, you know, greens that do fairly well in just about any type of soil. So we'll probably be having these scattered throughout all of the garden, since we kind of have to, because we got a lot of greens.
Oh yeah.
Other random greens, Malabar spinach. I really like this stuff. A lot of people think it's kind of got a gelatinous kind of mucusy texture to it, but I find it's really good to add to salads and stir fries and smoothies and juicing and all kinds of stuff. Some more Swiss chard. So same deal with both of these really. As far as some of the larger leafy greens, they're gonna want a bit better soil, but they would do okay in not so great soil. All right, just a few more greens here. We got some different bok choy and pak choy. We also have celtus. I've not successfully really grown this yet. I kind of put it in too late last year to really get a good harvest from it, but I'm kind of excited to try that for some juicing. Some more purslane, some more leafy green sorrel, and one of my favorites. So yeah, we'll be growing a lot of that. All of these, again, your general greens that are probably going to do okay in just about any soil. Some of them, might want better soil just to get better production out of them, whereas these two are probably the purslane and sorrel. They can grow just about anywhere and do well. All right, so here we have a bunch of our herbs and flowers as well. So we've got some borage, however you want to say that. Culinary basil, peppermint, lemon balm, burdock, oregano, sage, yarrow, lemon bergamot. Hard to say, especially upside down. Lavender, chamomile, parsley, some really cool purple basil, dill, mammoth dill, chives, cilantro, wintertime, dill, some more dill, fennel, rosemary, some shiso. This is a green I like to grow a lot. It's pretty strong, but adding a little bit to a salad or a stir fry really spices things up. Some cilantro I seed saved from last year, some more shiso, and some fennel. So that's all our kind of herbs. A lot of those are greens and flowers and stuff too, but they're in the herb section for now. And final group is our flower group. So these are just kind of general flowers that I've been wanting to grow. A lot I cannot pronounce, so I'm not even going to try on some of these. A lot of them are perennials, some annuals in here as well. This one, I just grow a lot of borage. Poached eggplant, this is supposed to be really good for pollinators as well as beneficial insects. Another just flower I've been wanting to grow. Bachelor buttons, violas, bunch of marigolds. I think I have like 5 or 6 different marigolds, a few of which are edible, so that's pretty cool. I think actually most marigolds are, but some are just stronger than others. Some more of that, nasturtiums, bee balm, purple coneflower, amaranth. This is a cool perennial. Cosmos, eupatorium. I shouldn't even try.
No, just stop while you're ahead.
Flower marigold. All right, some of these are flowers I've seed saved from my house and my parents' house. These are black-eyed Susans. Sure you can appreciate my drawing there. Some sunflowers, which I think we need some more of, don't we?
Yes.
These are really cool little flowers, and these are some flower I seed saved from my parents' house, and I think that's everything.
All right.
Sorghum.
So
Don't forget about sorghum. All right, so we've kind of organized or deorganized, I guess, in some ways.
very much so.
But we went through and we decided what we wanted to grow, at least as far as starting stuff indoors. So we're gonna start all of our tomatoes basically as soon as possible. So we've got 4 different varieties of tomatoes we'll be starting. We've got 2 different varieties of cauliflower, both from M.I. Gardener. We've got a few varieties of broccoli, 2 purples, so that should be fun. Some cabbage, I think 4 varieties of cabbage, our artichokes, and Brussels sprouts. So that's main vegetables. Our root crops we're going to be planting out and transplanting soon. Well, not transplanting soon, but starting soon. Our carrots, beets, kohlrabi, leeks, onions, and some long onions. And then we've got the kind of rest of our greens. We're gonna do some Celtus, Mizuna, I believe that's tatsoi, Osaka purple mustard, Swiss chard, our lettuce, a bunch of different lettuce, a bunch of kale, all our kale basically. Some more Swiss chard here, some more Asian greens, bok choy, amaranth, 2 different varieties of spinach, more kale, arugula, mache, tatsoi, and all the tango, and there's some pak choy. So that's the
kind of the first set of things we're gonna, because there's more.
Yeah, a lot more to be planted out and started, but this is kind of our first round of what will be starting soon. So stay tuned for planning of that and of eventual growing and thriving of that.
Crazy. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.
Later.